Yo, it's still Dre from DTE, Deep Theory Experience Podcast. What up, though?
Worldwide, and I got your girl wide. Feeling like I'm Gyro. Bitch, I'm always on time. Got my soldiers on time. If you want that 4-5, coming mad like Jordan. Bitch, you know I'm scoring.
Okay, you are tuning in. What? Dre,
Go ahead.
Dre,
No,
why would
start
you?
over.
Dre, why would you ruin my intro? All right, man. You tuning in to DTE, the Deep Theory Podcast, here with your host, JB2. Back at it with the compadres. I know it's been a while. I'm going to make them introduce themselves. Or actually, I can introduce them myself. We're going to do it different this year, okay? So we got Deanne, we got Mandisa, we got my boy, Mr. Embrag, and still Dre in the building. Yes, we are here, DTE. Yeah? You know what I'm saying? Let's toast one. Yo, you know what, Dre? I'm gonna drop a bomb for you still. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna drop a bomb.
On the soundboard, though?
I'm gonna drop a bomb for you, Dre. I'm
The
gonna drop a
soundboard,
bomb.
though?
It's so early for this.
Yeah, I gotta drop a bomb for Dre, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's we back, we're live, you know what I'm saying? But it's a brand new year, guys. 21.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Made it.
21?
it's a 21. It's a clean slate for everyone. It's a brand new fresh air, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is the year of changing the game. I feel like if you want to change the game, you gotta start from jump, and I feel like we're gonna try to do that with this podcast. How you guys feeling about the new year? Like, what's your goal for this month? How you see yourself starting off, or do you guys have any little micro goals that you guys set?
One of my biggest goals, I think, for this year is to focus on building and rebuilding certain friendships. So there are, I actually the other day made a list of people that, mean a lot to me, and people that mean a lot that I haven't really connected with over the years as much. So that, and then also, there's a friend who I used to be really, really close with, and, I kind of had to cut this person off for some reasons. And
Womp, womp, womp.
And we are now back, talking again, and we've talked about rebuilding our friendship, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's one of those friendships, those rebuilding of friendships that I'm referring to. And then just making it a habit to randomly pick up the phone and call you guys, call Deanne, call Daryl, call Dre, Jermaine, whoever, Jarrell, just people, and just make sure everybody's good, and try not to only limit conversations to text message or social media. So.
That's beautiful.
No, that actually is big.
To keep going throughout, over time. But this year, it's I actually want to be conscious about doing those things starting this year anyway. So yeah.
I'm just gonna cue in on that. Just hearing what Mandy's talking about, calling people. But one thing I took kind of it made me feel good was on my birthday when people were calling. I'm not really one to really call people. It's just not me, but I'm going to make that effort into calling people a little bit more often, just here and there occasionally. So the whole birthday call out, it just made people feel good. So I think it's just nice to hear people's voices instead of just going through messages. I think that's one of the biggest things. And just even today, I got a random call from Jarrell. And the last time I really spoke to Jarrell was actually a couple of days ago on the phone, and then I thanked him for the whole college experience for looking out for me and stuff. So I think since then he's just been calling me a lot more. We actually have been talking a lot more. So I hear what you're saying. That's actually a really good thing to do, and I feel it's a lot more meaningful and impactful on people. So I think we should all do that. And, shout out to Jermaine.
Thank you, Dre. I appreciate that, man. Don't be calling out my government name. It's JB2 here, okay?
Whatever, bro.
No govies?
Well, I appreciate that, Dre. I think want to just do more creating. Actually do a lot of rekindling with my family. You know, there's like learning from Christmas. There's like a lot of extended family that I didn't even know about. You know, so just a lot of reaching out to family that don't even know who I am and I don't know who they are. So kind of doing that and kind of seeing where that goes. And just attacking every day. You know, with a great sense of purpose. You know, I don't want to. If I feel like I let down today, I'm gonna get back even more tomorrow. You know, so that's my big step that I want to do going forward for this year.
I feel like to go into my 2021 goals, I have to share my highs and lows with you for 2020, so you could kind of see what has impacted my decisions for 2021.
Go ahead, girl. Speak your mind, queen. Speak
the
your
first
mind.
one would be, obviously, we've all had highs and lows this year, some more than others, but I think appreciating the lows is a big thing for 2020. So biggest one for all of us is probably COVID-19 in many different ways, in many different formats. For me specifically, I feel like it delayed my growth at work. There's also social injustice. We saw that. We've seen it every year, but we saw that in a big way this year, and that's impacted my life personally as well as at work. And then I personally, when I reflected and sat down the other day to kind of prepare, I realized that the biggest thing that I did was I neglected my health. So I was less active. I wasn't playing sports because of COVID. I didn't want to work out. I just kind of sat and worked for the most part. And then I wasn't eating the way that I should have. So I gained weight on top of that. So looking at all of that and then looking at, yes, I did see that, but I saw some highs too. I saw that I gained recognition at work because of the work ethic and like me sitting all day basically. I spent time with my family. I enhanced my financial portfolio because I saw the importance of that because this year was different and unlike any other. So when I reflect on all of those in 2020, I kind of think of 2021 as overall growth. So from that, spiritually, getting closer to God, physically, getting more active, getting up, mentally kind of just focusing on what I can do to improve myself and those around me, and then financially just keep building on my financial acumen and keep investing. So I feel like I had to reflect on 2020 first before I went into 2021 and try to be a new me.
I like that. That's big. The fact that you can go and take that low where you felt like, you know, again, everyone has their own way of talking about their mishaps, you know. So for you to tap in about, you know, you felt that you weren't eating right, or you felt like you gaining weight wasn't really comforting for you. That's big. A lot of people didn't really get to hear you be that vulnerable, you know. So I see you, D. I see you.
Yeah.
I love it, and I feel like you're gonna bounce back in a mighty big way for sure. This is your year. I'm not even doubting. This is your year. You know what I'm saying?
Aiming it.
Facts. Speaking into existence.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to use this, a pen, and this is my notebook that I'm going to write down all my dreams, aspirations, goals, topics for the podcast, doing things for myself. Yeah. So just self-development, because I've noticed that I've been slacking on that last year. And I also want to bounce off of what Mandisa said. I think it's best that I also learn how to connect more with people. So it will be people with the podcast. It will be other people that I cut ties with that I necessarily shouldn't have cut ties with. Rebuilding and growth.
Yeah, that's big, bro. Just to piggyback off what you guys what you and Deanne were talking about in terms of highs and lows. So I guess we could dive into that. Legit, you know, obviously the beginning of the year still had the cast, as you guys all know, you know. But to take it off going into I think it was the first week. I can't remember. Anywho, still learning how to walk was like a big thing for me. And though I was happy to take off the cast eventually, just readjusting to, walking and how to channel in my depression. Actually, like reading books and talking to people about certain things was, it was a huge thing. But at times I had a low, like it was low points for me because there was a lot of things I just kept to myself, and I think a big low for me was just the whole, Black Lives Matter thing. Seeing how it affected all you guys, like just to see, we had to cancel sessions because, certain people didn't want to talk. I remember how Dee expressed, like, she was just exhausted. I remember Mandisa saying how she's just emotionally drained, and I could just see how angry it was making Dre, So, there was a lot of lows. But I looked at all the positives, right? Like, I felt like, we made a lot of great things happen. I made a lot of great things happen, I learned a lot of new things, graphic designing, the guitar, me and Mandy learning how to freaking roller skate, like those
that was fun.
You know what I mean? And she taught me how to moonwalk, you know what I mean? I didn't think it was possible, but, like those are things that I hold on to. And it was some normalcy that I felt that, we can have that in 21. No one knows what's going to happen, but I mean, we've gone through the storm and now we can kind of weather the storm in 21, if that makes sense.
There were shitty things that happened and unfortunate things that happened, some of which you guys have touched on, like Black Lives Matter stuff, which, has been super draining and just frustrating to witness and to deal with as an individual. I think, though, in my personal life, I've tried, especially this year, to look at things as like, what is this negative thing, or this thing that I think is negative? What is this trying to teach me? And try to look at, like, flip it and look at it as a lesson. So that being said, some of you know that, I've lost quite a lot of female friends towards the end of the year, which
it's a blessing,
was hurtful. It was hurtful at first. But I think now, in talking to people and just really reflecting on certain things and thinking back to certain times, I think it is a blessing in disguise, and I've learned to look at it that way. And so that's one thing. Another thing is, in the past, on the podcast even, I've talked about being in a long-distance relationship, and it would have been this March would have been 3 years with that person, and we broke up. And
Ooh.
At first, it was like, I don't understand why this isn't working. I mean, obviously I knew why it wasn't working, but it's like, why is this another relationship that's not working? And just dealing with that was definitely a low, but also, again, another, I guess, blessing in disguise, because, not everybody that you date is going to be for you and who you're meant to be with, obviously. So those were some lows. And I think for the most part, I think that's it. But 2020 has definitely taught me a lot about even myself, and the people around me, and just life in general. So although there was a lot of lows, there were a lot of lessons.
That's big that you can channel those things as lessons, right? Some people manifest it differently. So
yeah, I mean, it's taken a lot, because
of course,
usually for me it's like, I don't understand why this is happening to me, and what did I do? What's wrong with me? All that stuff.
Yeah, but, the emotional wave.
Yes, exactly. Which is like my middle name, -wave. Yeah.
No pun intended with your hair,
Anyway, but yeah. So yeah.
Oh man. I can start with the lows. just kind of being home for so long, bro. Like, as you guys,
Facts.
as I shared, like in other episodes or other conversations that we've had, just being on my own, like for so long, not being able to like really like interact with people or even doing the things I was really accustomed to doing. Not being able to go to the gym for like a minute, but having to find different ways to like at least get some type of exercise. Not being able to work, which I'm just so used to doing.
Yeah, it definitely feels weird as a man not being at work, doing something, being productive.
Yeah, that was such a heavy hit. Like, I felt I felt so useless. Like, and it was really out of my control. And like, even trying to find a job now, like it's not easy. And I also feel that I'm going to be settling for something that I don't want to do. Like, so, mentally it's just been super draining. Just like y'all already mentioned, like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, like that did not help. Like, it was important and like it needed to happen, but it was still a lot. Like, just having different conversations with people, with everybody, basically, even like non-Black friends, trying to understand or trying to get a feel of like, yo, what's really going on? Like, the stuff has been going on. Like, yeah, bro, like this is my life. Like, it might not happen like every single day, but like, yo, it happens. Like, but one thing that I was listening to like another podcast, and like their breakdown of like the year, and one of the members of the podcast was talking about like, yo, like not having hobbies, and I'm just like, bro, I relate. I don't have any hobbies. I really don't have any.
You're gonna have to find some new hobbies now, bro.
Fam, I was legit like I was listening to the podcast, and I'm like, bro, what do I like doing? Like, and honestly, like these are gonna be topics for like later, for other episodes. But like, just like, yo, the man was talking about how if a girl was to ask him like, what do you enjoy doing? It's just like, bro, I don't even know how to answer that. I legit don't know how to answer that. Like, so I don't know, bro. It's weird. Like, I guess really and truly, like 2020 did show me a lot about myself. Like, and just like losing contact with friends, people that was even developing relationships with or friendships with. Like, a lot of things have changed, like drastically. And I mean, there's pros and there's cons to it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I just try not to like, I guess look at the negatives too much. To be honest, like, it's just about me trying to find myself. Really, like, I really gotta find myself. That's really it. Like, that's really what my goal is for 21, bro. Like, I gotta find myself. I gotta know who I am. Like, I know who I am, but I gotta find stuff that I actually enjoy doing. I gotta find stuff that like is like productive in a sense, but I also enjoy doing it. Like, not like, obviously I enjoy doing the podcast and being a part of the podcast, but like when it's me time, like I don't want to just sit here and just like watch Netflix and like movies. Like, that's another thing. Like, I used to enjoy going to movies, bro. Like, I don't even know. Like, I gotta really find something else to do. Like,
unprecedented times right now. Unprecedented times right now, for sure.
It's true.
It's
like,
crazy.
yeah, you can't just go to the movie theater or like go to this place now. Like, you're stuck at home, so it's like, I'm so limited, or you're so limited. Now what? Like, you have to be creative with like, okay, I've played video games, I've watched Netflix, I've done this. Like, what's next? And yeah, it's true. You do have to like really, I guess, learn yourself in a whole different way.
Legit.
Yeah. And the thing is, the one thing I find that I was low-key fearing was the repetitiveness of things, right? Like, oh, I've watched Netflix, but like I have nothing else to do now, so I'm gonna have to watch Netflix again. Or, you know, like, when is NBA season gonna come? Like, you know, like different things, you know. So I definitely can relate to what you're talking about. It's a different evolution of yourself, right?
Like, yeah, that's really it. Like, I have no choice but to do what I gotta do and grow with it. And one thing I even realized, which was mad crazy, like it's not really important, but like I was looking to watch Wonder Woman on my Xbox.
Oh my gosh,
bro! You know how much it costs to rent it though?
Yes, it's like $24, no?
Fam, it's not even a movie ticket.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
Yo, it is at VIP.
Yeah,
it
is.
That's crazy.
She's not lying. She's not lying.
VIP.
So the VIP experience is for my house? No, bro, I'm not. No, come on.
And then you still have to pay if you want to order food and drinks and all that shit.
Facts. Yeah. Oh. And then they have alcohol.
I do pay it though, guys. I do. I do.
I do not like movies that much. No.
What do I pay for? A comfy ass chair with a lot of space. It's basically like a couch. And I get to have food. I don't know, frig. And also you get to reserve your seat. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like I know I can show up right when the movie starts and know that nobody's sitting in my spot.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. And they serve alcohol.
One of the biggest things. Yeah, they serve alcohol.
You've never had somebody in your spot even though like you reserved
because
it?
you reserve. No, you reserve it.
I have.
No. I'd be like, get the hell up. You know you're not supposed to be sitting here.
You just gotta look at them.
She's scrapping
them in the dark.
She's scrapping. She's literally scrapping.
I am, because it's like, hello, I know if you're
use those little football shoulders.
If you're in the theater, that means you looked at the screen to select where you were gonna sit.
Legit.
If you weren't happy with where you were sitting, you shouldn't have chose that spot. Like, get up out my
seat. You know there's ultimate finessers in the world. They're gonna be like, well, this person's not here. I'm just gonna take a seat.
But man, don't even wait though. Like the movie hasn't even started. Like it hasn't been like the middle of the movie, and man's just still gonna bump into your seat before the movie starts. That makes no sense. At least wait. Like
alright, we'll go. So, my name is Mandisa. Most people call me Mandy. I've had variations of other nicknames over the years from different people. We won't get okay, thanks, Jermaine. And yeah, so I am, I'm Trini. I was born here. Both parents are Trini.
Oh, for real? I didn't know.
Yeah, heavily Trini. Like my dad only speaks with a Trini accent. My mom can turn it on and off. My mom grew up in the States, actually. She spent most of her life in Miami. So she can turn on what you would call the Canadian accent, the American accent, and the Trini accent. And when she's really pissed off, they all come out together. But yeah, so Trini on both sides. I would say that I'm an all-around creative. I went to school for fashion design. I've had a brand for multiple years. And what else? Anyway, in the day, like my 9 to 5, I work at head office for Hudson's Bay. What else? I've known most of you. I think the person I've known the least would be Daryl. The person I've known for the longest time, I think, would be Dre. And then shortly after that, Deanne. Jermaine's somewhere in the middle. But I'd say, I've known Dre for probably 15 years or something now. It's been a long time.
Blood clots.
That's crazy.
It's been a long time. So yeah, we've known each other a long time. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I play football, as you guys may have remembered from season 1. I play QB and or wide receiver and or halfback. I kind of just play wherever I'm needed.
Yeah, she's a very versatile woman. You know, she can just go into any situation and she does it. If you guys need her, just let her know.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, I love kids. I love babies.
Now that is a huge fact.
I cannot go anywhere in public and see a baby and not go, oh, look at the baby. Like it's just impossible. Yeah, I love kids. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell. I don't think I left anything out. So, yeah.
Gracias, amigo.
Yes.
What up, man? Name's Andre. Everyone calls me Dre. Still Dre.
Dre in the building.
Dre Swish, but that's for basketball only.
And
About me, well, my background, well, Canadian Jamaican, born in Canada, mother's born in Jamaica, came here. I was premature at birth.
Hey, me too.
I had no idea, bro. Damn, wow.
I was supposed to be born in February of 92. Came out November of 91.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah. I guess you guys are learning something new, I guess, but
Facts.
Yeah. You mentioned it at the cottage, but I didn't think it was like months, like premature. I thought it was like, like a month, a couple weeks or something.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was a good couple months. So my first Christmas in the hospital. What about me, bro? Like, I love basketball. Still do to this day. I don't play as much as I used to, obviously. I coach basketball. Honestly, I'm really just trying to like work with the youth. Just based off like my childhood and stuff I've experienced in my life, growing up in a single parent home with my mom's. I always feel like it's necessary for me to kind of like give back and give like my presence to younger children around me. I just feel like it's super important to have like a male influence or a male role model. And just growing up, I've had my fair share of like male role models from like daycares, and I can't say like I appreciate them to the fullest, and they don't even really fully know that. Like, I've been able to reconnect or kind of bump into one of them randomly on my birthday like a couple years ago, which was a really good conversation. He didn't recognize me, but that's besides that. About me now, like, I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure myself out, like I've said it previously. I was in an environment where I enjoyed when it came to working. Obviously, COVID really messed a lot of things up for me. But I'm still standing. I'm still here. I refuse to go down without a fight, and I won't stop. And I appreciate all the people that are around me, because they've kept me level-headed and kept me kind of going in a sense. And just developing deeper relationships and friendships with my people has helped me a lot. Y'all have me really thinking deep about this stuff. Deep theory.
Yo, we got deep, man. Deep. This guy went with
throwback.
I don't know what else to really say about myself at this moment, but I'm just glad to be a part of this and glad to be able to like connect with y'all on a deeper level. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for real.
Muchos gracias, amigo.
We also appreciate you, bro.
Definitely.
The queen.
So my name's Deanne Diamond. I won't say my last name because we're not going to
D Blood Diamond.
I am Nigerian Canadian, born and raised in Toronto, or the DTE if we want to be specific. I'm a Virgo, high key Virgo. I went to middle school with Mandisa and Dre, went to VP with Dre, which is our high school. Graduated from Ryerson with a Bachelor of Commerce in Retail Management, specifically. I've been working for TJX Canada for 6 years now. I love basketball. Played a lot of sports throughout my life, still till this day, but obviously COVID. And I would say that's my life in a nutshell. I feel like I live two lives, but we won't go there yet.
You're sick.
Yeah, she is sick for that one. She's like, yo, I live in two lives.
Back.
Oh man, that's hilarious though. But I appreciate you guys at least giving the fans a little insight on who y'all are, especially, you know, us being
I'm single.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was gonna
No,
say,
this guy didn't just
are you
what?
single?
Yes, I am single too. Just
all right.
Dude, I'm
Okay.
single too. I've been single since last year March. Jeez.
All right, so just to go off of the segment today, what we have in store, we are going to be talking about growing up Black in Canada, or I should say Toronto, for most of us. Scarborough, I guess if you want to really go into specifics. So I guess we could talk about that. This kind of was influenced by a YouTuber called Nella Rose. She's actually a big person on YouTube. She has a big following. So if you guys want to check her out, she definitely got dope content. She's doing her thing, and she's representing for the Black people for sure. So
they're
go check out.
which I love.
They're banter. So I guess I'll kick it off. For me, growing up in Scarborough, it was fun. I would definitely say it was fun for me. You know, especially growing up with people that just look like you. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. Y'all can kind of relate to what I'm talking about, but just kind of like you feel like, well, you know, this person's not greater than you, you know? Like, it's like, we're Black. We live in a community. I feel at home, you know? So for me, that was a big plus growing up. But for me, the difference between my upbringing is, again, kind of what Dre was talking about, just a single mom home. So I obviously was trying to gain a lot from male role models, right? And a lot of my friends outside of the friends I had in my community were white, you know, because I played hockey. So, you know, I would...
That's different.
Yeah, it is different. So to me, you know, I was picking up certain things, and then I can, now that I look back, I can tell like I was a very shallow person at the point where like I would feel like I would have to hide certain things from my white friends, you know? I couldn't really like, you know, like you're very upbeat and open with your, you know, the people in your community because they see you, they know your lifestyle. You can't hide that, you know? Whereas, you know, you like, again, what you were saying, like, yeah, I had a mask on as a kid. So it was definitely different. And I think going into middle school, it made me even realize like, damn, like I'm just a multicultural kind of guy. Like, you know, I'm friends with everybody, you know? Mm-hmm. But I do remember and do recall, like, just because I was playing hockey in Scarborough, you know, a lot of Black people don't take kindly to that stuff, you know? So I was getting, you know, shat on like crazy, you know? And even though he's not here on this podcast session right now, Cosby was one of those people who bashed me a lot, you know? But
that's
we
crazy.
Obviously, yeah, I know. We talked about it, we hashed it, you know, I never really... it's nothing now, but then, like, you know, as a kid, you're like, damn, bro, like, I can't like something, you know?
You took it a little to heart?
Oh, I definitely, because then I was a true Cancer. Like, I was very gullible, sensitive. I was a crybaby. Like, I was, yeah. Anything you said to me, I was taking it to heart. Like, really? Like, I can't play hockey? So, yeah, I just seen that at that time, I had a different upbringing than my friends, you know? We all grew in the same area, but like I was doing different things, you know? My interest was very different from other people. So I guess in Mandy's words, it kind of might seem weird, you know? No pun intended, you know what I'm saying? But
but Jermaine, how long, wait, I got questions because
Go ahead.
Wait,
Let's
I
get
know this. How long did you spend in Scarborough before you moved, and did you find that you were treated differently when you moved outside of Scarborough for your interest?
Damn. So I spent like 14, 15 years in Scarborough. I was born in Etobicoke General, but we had moved to Scarborough pretty much for I was like 2 months, right? So again, I wasn't treated different in Scarborough. Like I've always been Scarborough's home, you know, it's always gonna be home to me. But I do understand, like I did realize, like when I moved to Jane and Shepherd, that was a completely different cultural thing, right? Like that was like I seen black people, but like I had blacks, I had whites, I had, you know, browns, whatever the case is. In Jane and Shepherd, it was just black, you know, like it was very dominantly black. Like I really didn't really see white people.
That's key, because I was gonna say, like, growing up in Scarborough was different. Like
it was different.
You didn't really feel that whole black against white type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the different. And my school was basically dominantly black, C.W. Jeffries, right? So to me, I was just like, damn, you know, how do I fit in?
You went to Jeffries?
Yeah, I went to Jeffries.
Wow.
I
say wow because I remember traveling there for like school games and stuff, and we were like, everybody on the bus. Everybody we're out.
Your coach was like, run.
Yeah, I remember there, like that's what I was telling you, Dre, like that scrap that you guys were talking about, like that ball game, like I was there. I was on the team. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so to me, I was just like, it was different, right? Again, none of the cameras worked, you know, like it was really like, you know, those movies you used to see, like Dangerous Minds, or I can't remember the movie with Coolio. Like Coolio did a song to that movie, and it was
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It just felt like that. I'm like, yo, the busted down cameras. Like I could die right now, and no one would know. Like, you know. So I really opened into my blackness at that school, and I think that was important for me. Just knowing that, like, again, I was so closed off because, again, like Deanne was saying, like Scarborough is just so multicultural. I wasn't really looking at, you know, this against this, you know. So in that school, like you really had to tap into your black. Like my swag was so horrible. My swag was so horrible. It was crazy. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I changed my whole ammo and then when I went to Mississauga now, that was a completely cultural difference too, right? Because now I went from being at a black school to being at a brown school, a brown and Asian school, right? And it's just like, damn, like
Rick Hansen?
Rick Hansen. So I had to like look at it and just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna graduate and then just do what I gotta do, you know? And that was a big key of my transformation, just going through those different schools.
It's crazy because when I think about it, I remember saying, like, what if I went to lived in Oakville? Like, what would my life be like now?
Ask these questions. Yeah, I know. I asked these questions too. Again, like for high school, I wanted to go to Wexford, right? Like it's an art school.
Same.
Right?
I was so close. My mom walked to the front door and she saw people smoking weed and she said, "Nah, bus."
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Yep.
So for me, it's because it's my area. So they said I wasn't close enough. So I was like, well, that's dumb. I could just
that changed that.
Yeah, like that's what happened for a lot of people, right? Like certain areas they wouldn't accept you unless you were maybe, you know, a different skin color. I don't know. I'm probably going off a limb right now, but point is,
you know what? It's crazy because like I moved like halfway. I want to say halfway, or maybe a year after the first year of VP. I technically shouldn't have been going to VP still.
See, exactly.
Because I was like I was basically Wexford or like Birchmount.
Exactly. Right. So, but growing up in Scarborough wasn't like. I didn't have any bad problems. I think just growing up playing hockey was more of my trials and tribulations, where you would hear the N-word and you know, you have dads in the stands just calling you like a piece of black shit, and like all this is just like, bro, it's just a game.
How did you deal with that?
Hell no.
I don't know how. Honestly, Daryl, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I just felt like I just had a determination in my head that I'm like, yo, I'm going to be the sickest hockey player. I don't really care what they say, you know. Like, it was fun.
That's big. That's big.
Pardon me?
What got you into hockey?
NHL 93. I played the game, and
the video game.
The video game got me, and I don't know what it was. I think I just started to pick it up real quick. And
what player?
I think it's also in your. I think it's also in your blood, bro.
Yeah, it is. I found out later, like, my brother was like, he played for the NHL, right? So that was just a crazy thing. But to answer Dre's question, my favorite player watching was Jaromir Jagr. Obviously, you guys probably don't know who he is.
I rate it.
So he was just a different kind of player, and I was just like, let me just learn, you know. And again, in elementary school, you know, there's not a lot of black players, so ball hockey, I was just like, let me play ball hockey. And then eventually, like, I just kept teaching myself. So I taught myself how to skate, taught myself how to do this, and people just saw that I got better and better. So, you know, again, like, the role models outside of the black communities, like, they would just be like, yo, I'm gonna help you, you know. I your parents probably don't have the money, will help you, you know. And I think that was a big, and again, just like Dre said earlier about certain people in the daycare, those, if I ever put myself in a position to make something great, like in terms of income, they would definitely benefit from that, because they hold that part in my heart, you know, because they didn't have to sponsor me or do what they did for me. So I know 3 coaches off the top of my head, I definitely would, you know, be at their front door and just giving them. So if they're listening to this, you know, you don't know. But yeah, I just felt like, just to wrap up my segment parts, sorry guys, I'm taking so goddamn long, but I think if you weren't a dancer at a certain point growing up, you weren't cool. I don't know if you guys all had that experience, but in Scarborough, I felt like if you weren't a dancer, it was just a problem, you know, in the black community. But everybody's community is different. Everybody's upbringing is different, and
I guess it depends on what type of dancer. Like, are we talking like?
Yeah, I was gonna
jam?
say.
No, not jam. No, we're talking about like dance.
He means like a dancer,
like a dancer. Like remember,
like
at that age. Yeah, exactly. Like, you're in a crew. Like, at that time, that's when dancing was really popping in Toronto, right? Like, we can all attest to that. Like, everybody was doing these new dancehall songs, the Harlem Shake and all that, you know? So, yeah.
I didn't really feel that, to be honest. For me, it was more like if you were black and you weren't good at a sport,
yes,
it was different. That was what I thought. Like, for me, naturally, I love sports, so it wasn't like I didn't feel any way. Like, I grew up in a household full of sports, and that was just what we did. But like, I felt like that was the pressure. Like, if you were a black kid, especially, I could only imagine if you were a black kid in a school that wasn't predominantly black, everyone would look at you like, if you're not good at sports, what are you good at? Type of thing.
Yeah,
facts. Exactly. I think just to piggyback on what you're saying, I think it was more for the guys. It was more for ball, like the black guys. If you weren't playing ball, like, again, that's why I was getting ridiculed. Like, why are you playing hockey if there's a basketball court literally like 2 seconds away from you? Like, why? You know? And it's not like I never liked basketball. I always loved basketball. I still do to this day, as you guys know. But hockey was just something that, you know, was something I was better at, you know, and I saw that I was better at. So I just stuck with what I was good at, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy though, because you would think, like, obviously, if you're not Canadian and you're looking at Canada, you think hockey. So you would think you would have more people, like, accepting of hockey. Because, you know, hockey, Canada usually goes hand in hand.
And black people made the sport. That's what
Yeah,
was making me
that's
more
crazy.
even mad, you know. So
Yeah,
think
that's
the
the
thing
biggest
about-
thing.
Sorry, I think the thing about that is just the fact that like there's no real like ice hockey rinks like available
What?
everywhere.
what are
well,
you
we're-
talking?
Not everywhere.
Relax,
Like
relax.
yeah.
Now, where I grew up, there was
Yeah.
none. But I'll talk about me
sorry,
later.
sorry. You can
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
I was talking already, so I'm good, yo. I'm interested
Alright.
to learning everybody else stuff.
Well, since I'm here, it was growing up in in Toronto. It was very different for me as well, in the sense of like when I was in elementary school, there wasn't a lot of black people. There was mostly Muslim, white people, and Asian people. Like I could really count like how many like Caribbean people were around me on my hand, and like
Damn.
there's Caribbean like Indian Caribbean that did not accept the Indian Caribbean in them, and they were shifting over to black, and then there were black people. Like I was able to like be able to like I guess interact with everybody. Like everyone, I was cool with everybody for the most part. When I was a kid, I used to get into a lot of fights though. I had a bad temper,
Dre.
man.
Did?
I had a
For real,
bad temper. Like it was bad. Like I would fight for nothing and for everything. Like
Yo,
Wow.
I'm sorry, Dre. I'm sorry to interject. I know we only have like 8 minutes. Did you feel like that anger came from just your living situation? Like just the fact that you only had your mom to depend on?
at the time, no. I think I
But
was
when
just,
you
like,
look back,
not when I look back now, like I still think it's the same old thing. Like I was a chubby kid. I wasn't really getting a lot of love.
Did
like,
you get picked on?
I
Did
got
people
picked
used
on.
to like? Okay,
I got bullied.
so it's
Like,
like
yeah,
it was like a
bothered
defense mechanism, basically.
yeah.
And-
I remember.
Yeah, okay.
And if people would try to like friend me up or try to like make me feel good, I didn't really feel like it was genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So like I always had like my guard up. Like I always had to have my guard up.
Yeah.
Like I used to like, so when Jermaine talking about like hockey and stuff, like I used to play like with mini sticks, like like that was like my thing. So like when you're talking about hockey, like when I'm saying there's no ice rink around, like there really was no ice rink around like my area at least.
No, I know. I hear what you're saying. No, it took me a while to find out where the ice rinks were. So I feel you.
Like we found one that was away from our school, but like it was driving distance, like not driving distance, but like it wasn't too far, but we couldn't really walk there. And in elementary school, I had like one black teacher, legit one. Her name was Miss Shy. She was mad cool with me. It was different. Like I never really took it in until like later on in life. Like yo, like I really had like one black teacher in elementary school. But like in daycare, like I had a couple of black people around me, which was important, and I appreciate them to the fullest to this day. And then going to middle school, I was still around a lot of Muslim people, but I felt like I started seeing more black people. I'm just like, yo, like this is crazy. Like, and I started playing basketball a lot more. Vince Carter obviously put me on. Like, he's my Jordan.
Shout out to
Like-
Vince Sanity.
Like Vince
Yes.
Carter is my Jordan, easy.
Back.
That will never change. Started playing basketball a lot more. Took it more seriously. I made it on like the middle school basketball team, but I wasn't able to play too much because I had to always pick up my younger sister at the time. So it just did not work out. But when I actually got to like high school, when I actually started playing basketball, like I felt like I took it to a different level. I learned a lot. Like I remember my first games. Like my grade 9, the team got canceled because of a situation that came up with the coach. and in grade 10 is when I actually started playing. It was such a different experience, like playing under rules. Like it's not like street ball. Like you can't do any of the free stuff. Like you couldn't do none of that. And like on top of that, like what was so dope about like our basketball team was like, like it was like everybody that was around me was like looked like me. To be honest, like for the most part, everyone looked like me. Like everyone that hung out in our spot called T Block and VP.
My gosh.
When I tell you, like my locker was a good couple feet away from T Block, and honestly, it might sound rude or messed up, but it was darker around T Block, and I loved it. I loved it. Nobody could really walk through there and feel like, like we can take over this spot. Like I remember there was legit a time where someone, like a group of people, were trying to take over T Block, and it didn't work out. It got different around there, but T Block was like the spot where everyone would link up. All the black people would link up. If you were cool with us, you could link up.
Let me tell you, as a female, T Block was different. It was intimidating walking through those halls.
And,
why was it different?
Okay, like it's different if you had guy friends, because then you were safe. You weren't gonna get clowned, but like you were getting clowned still, but not as much. It wasn't that deep. But like T Block was an actual like T, so you definitely had to walk through it at some point of the day to get to your locker.
Damn.
To me, I had to get to practice. Oh my gosh.
It was close to the gym. It was close to kind of close to the cafeteria. Like it was like essential for everything. Like the library was around the corner. Like I remember when I was coaching like the girls basketball team, and they were in grade 9, and they were walking through T Block, and I can see on their face that like they felt like so uneasy, because all these girls were Asian girls and brown girls. There's only one black girl that was on the basketball team at the time, and I always had to make sure like nobody like bumps into them. Like I can see how uneasy they felt. So just like I always try to tell them like don't even worry, like you'll be all right. Like I'm here. Like I'm not gonna let anything happen to y'all. So, but T-Block was a ruthless block. Like when it comes to like roasting sessions, when it came to just playing different games at the time, like Salad, where if you remember what Salad is, Salad was such a dangerous game, bro.
Oh, for real though.
Can you please explain what that is? Because I don't know, and I know a lot of people don't know.
So basically, Salad was basically it was technically a soccer game, but Salad is basically where someone basically like take like a tennis ball. If they throw it between your legs, you get punched until you touch a doorknob. Not a door handle, a doorknob.
Wow.
It was intense. I remember there was a time where we were coming back from lunch and someone threw a ball through Mapo's legs, and he had to touch a random house doorknob, and it had to be a doorknob. That's
hilarious.
Like it was intense. So like just playing the different games, playing on the basketball team, going through high school, and like when Jermaine was talking about like being judged off of doing things that quote unquote black people don't do, like there's certain sports I didn't even play because I felt like I was going to be judged. I remember I know like there are black people that play volleyball, and one of the like Deanne, I don't know if you remember, or Daryl, I don't know if you remember. Relax.
Played volleyball, Dre.
I know you did, but just chill, because like it wasn't just a black thing. It really wasn't. It was me. But you remember Mr. Ivan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? Holy.
Mr. Ivan was my gym teacher for like basically all of high school. So even when I had like basketball, like legit basketball class, he was my teacher. And he told me from grade 9 to try out for volleyball team every single year. And he was so disappointed in me for not doing it, because I had a fear of getting spiked in my face, bro. Like I can play.
It's a real thing. I got spiked in my face. My glasses broke. Yep.
You see?
I think Miss Pack also did she tell you to do it as well, Miss Pack? if
Miss Pat,
what?
she probably did. But I had her as a geography teacher first, but like I knew she was obviously a gym teacher as well. But like, yeah, I wear glasses too. But I never played basketball with glasses on. I'd always play without glasses, which was mad risky. And it was kind of interesting and it was fun because when I would sub in for somebody, like I would not know who I'm guarding because they'll tell me the jersey number, but I wouldn't look at jersey numbers at all. I would see like who's guarding who, and I'll see who was open and guard them. So I really like live life on the edge.
Jeez.
Y'all don't even know. Like, yo, but I shot the ball very well.
I thought you were playing with contacts at least.
Nah, didn't. I remember there was a game where one of my coaches gave me goggles, and I just took that thing off. Like, bro, like this is not helping me. Like, I still can't see. I don't like my eyes are not getting poked out at that time, but like it was whatever. But in high school, I think like that was like probably the time where I met like probably like my all-time favorite teachers. I've only had her for one class, which I hated the fact that it was only for one class because she.
I feel like I know who this is.
You know exactly who she is, Miss Smarter.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
She challenged me, man. Like she like to this day I still keep in touch with her, which is honestly like great. Like I had her for anthropology, sociology, and psychology. She legit challenged me. Like every time, if I was late for class, like she would look at me and be like, "So what's up?" And I'll be like, "Yo, I ate lunch a little late. Like I'm here though. Like don't worry." Like I remember there was a time where like some girl was presenting something about commercials or music videos or something like that, and like I was looking at the presentation, like it was like on a PowerPoint. And there were like a lot of like black artists, like 50 Cent, Ja Rule, had Tupac, Biggie, and like all these guys, and like she kind of made it seem like they were bad people. And I was like, I looked at Miss Martin, and I'm like, yo, are you okay with this? And she's like, what do you see what the issue is? She already knew. She just was waiting for somebody else to say something. And I was just like, yo, like, why is she making it seem like black people are bad people? And she's like, why don't you say something? I was just like, I can? I was just like, all right, bet. I put my hand up in the middle of this girl's presentation. I was just like, yo, why are all the black people on this slide and you're making it seem like they're bad people? And the girl legit stopped and she looked at me and she just like, she looked at her presentation like, damn, like, I didn't even mean it like that. I'm like, well, I'm seeing what you're talking about and I'm seeing what you're implying. So not trying to make you feel uncomfortable or anything, but like I feel awkward right now. Like, and Miss Marta looked at me and she was actually proud of me. Like at that point, I was just like, yo, Miss Marta actually made me feel like I had a voice. Like she gave me a voice. Like every time like I would have a conversation with her about anything, like she's always listening to me. She always tried to like dig deep on like certain things as a black student. Like I appreciate her to the fullest. Like when it comes to teachers, like I said, she's like my all-time favorite teacher, even though I had her for one class. So yeah,
that's big because for me it was Ms. Marks. So I feel that, and it's funny how the teachers that made the biggest impact to us were also teachers that we could relate to because they were black.
Honestly, growing up black, like I think I can speak for all of us. Like, yo, I know it's been rough, but it's also been a lot of fun. Like,
I have a question to ask you guys before you guys all get tapped in. Did you guys all read Othello?
Yes.
At some point?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you guys
feel?
Did you guys feel okay? Let me ask you guys. Did you ever feel uncomfortable throughout the reading session, or did you feel uncomfortable throughout the movie session?
The reading session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I rarely remember it. I know we did it, but I don't.
Yeah. I feel like I felt more uncomfortable during the reading session because in class, especially if it was a class, but I guess Othello was a class thing, different people would have to read, right? So like different people were saying certain things and you're like, okay, true. We're all just gonna act like, oh, okay, true. Okay, continue reading. it was weird in that sense. Whereas like the movie is the movie, like it's just, you know, acted out however. But yeah, that's why for me it was uncomfortable. And then like,
Dang.
but also it's like it could be either way, because if the teacher specifically asked a black person to read a certain part, then it's like, why'd you choose me? But then if they ask a white person to read that same part, it's like, okay, well, this person just said this thing, which is kind of racist, but you know, it's a mandatory school book, so let's.
But I hear you. It made me feel like, okay, the reason why I say that is because that made me feel uncomfortable, just like you guys did, and of Mice of Men. Like, you know where you guys had to, like, the part where they were saying, like, instead of saying nigger, they said negro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that, like, I'm over here looking at the teacher like, yo, miss, like, you're not gonna just tell them to just, you know, say something else
over.
or just say black or something. I don't
But
know.
it's also interesting to me as to why, like, okay, you guys want us to read that. I was gonna say shit, but I won't do that. You guys have us reading that. That's a mandatory part of the curriculum, but you can't teach proper Black history. Get the hell out of here.
Real.
Yes, but it just makes me look at them and just be like, okay, like, these guys are really just doing what they're told. Like, a lot of the white Asian people are just doing what they're told. They don't really understand what they're reading, you know? And then you have people in there who actually are like, well, these guys probably deserved it, like, you know, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I think the curriculum was fed to them as well. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I just have to bring that up. So
honestly, the fact that, like, I've also grew up in, like, such a, like, a multicultural environment, and then, like, as I'm older now, like, and you're really taking in Toronto, like, how multicultural Toronto is, it's like, bro, this is actually dope. Like, you're able to learn a lot about different cultures if you really want to. Like, when it comes to food, fashion, history, whatever. Technology, like, there's so much to it. There's so many layers to it as well. Like, it's all,
I
like,
definitely
really
appreciated that fact, for sure.
Trust me.
Okay, so I grew up in the Don Mills area, so Don Mills and Lawrence to be particular, which is very, very close to the Bridle Path. So that and Bayview. So that in itself tells you there's a lot of
So sorry, but, like, have you been there, like, your whole life? Because it sounds like you have.
I'm touching on that, yes. I'll get there. That's okay. So yeah, there Bayview and Bridle Path, a lot of white people. It's very upscale-ish area, if you will. But also a fun fact about Don Mills. Don Mills was the first organized community in Canada. So there are a lot of old people that live in my area who, you will guess, are white. And so, yeah, like, I grew up in this area my whole life. I've lived in the exact same complex my entire life. And so, yeah, like, everybody that I know in this area that are pretty much that I went to school with, so elementary school and high school, either still live in the area or they live nearby or, like, something of the sort. So, so most of the people were, I would say, mostly white. There weren't, now that I think back, like, growing up as a kid, especially because for me, like, being Black was never something, like, I was picked on about or, like, anything like that. So really, really, now that we're having this conversation, I'm like, wait a second, like, there really wasn't that many Black kids in my school. But there were other people, other, like, nationalities and races. So there were brown people, there were Asian people, like, there were other people. It wasn't just, like, white or, like, Black. There were other people. So I guess there was, like, a good mix. And I think it's been like that throughout all of the schools that I've gone to. So I went to middle school and high school in this area, right? They're almost right beside each other. And then my elementary school, I went to Milne Valley with Dre and Dee, and even Milne Valley. I mean, there were more Black people, I think, at Milne Valley, but it was still pretty, like, mixed for the most part. And yeah, like, I feel like even just as far as racism, the only time I can really recall feeling different or like someone saying anything about about me being Black was, so I used to go to camp. I used to go to this camp called Trails, which you two may remember or may have heard me talk about. And basically, so basically for everyone else that doesn't know, it was a 4-year leadership camp. It was 10 girls and 10 guys. And it was like a graduation camp. So the first year we would do this certain activity. Second year would be an activity that was a little more difficult, and so on and so forth. So in our third and fourth year, in the summers, so we used to go there in the summers for 2 weeks at a time. And then we would go up to the camp, which was they had a couple 100 acres of land. They had lakes on their land, all that kind of stuff. So we used to go up to the camp one weekend every month throughout the year. So we were always there. And so in the summer we used to go and do camping trips. So they'd be 10-day camping trips or 11-day camping trips, stuff like that. Now it's said that camping is a white people thing, right? Even now, I try to get my Black friends to go camping. They're like, "Oh, do what? No, we're not. That's not.
We're not going into the wild. Yeah, we're not going.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times.
I'm not sleeping in no tent. Yeah,
I was that friend.
Yes, I know you were, Dre.
Until you tried it, and it wasn't bad, was it?
It wasn't as bad as I thought. No.
Yeah. So there was a time where we were coming back from a trip. So at this point, we all look a mess. We spent 10 days in the wilderness, no proper shower. We just were exhausted. And we stopped on our way back to the camp. We stopped at this rest stop to use the washroom. And keep in mind, the places that we usually go to, they're national parks or provincial parks. So they're massive. And they're hours outside of the city. So we stopped at this place, and it was in some small town, only white people. And in our group, there was maybe 3 or 4 Black people. And so we walked into the place, and everybody looked. And I'm just okay, I feel uncomfortable. And I was probably, at the time, 16 or 17. That's really the first time that I can say that I felt any kind of way about being Black. I knew people were looking at me because I was Black. That was really the first time, I think, that I can recall anyway. So I think for the most part growing up, it wasn't really a thing. And even just in high school and things, friends that were not Black using the N-word, which was popular, is a popular thing. Even that was I felt uncomfortable, but at the same time, it was whatever. Everybody's kind of doing it. You can't really control what people are going to do and say. I know it's one of those things. But especially when you're younger, you don't know the full extent of the word and just those kind of things. And the people saying it don't either. They know that they listen to rap music and Lil Wayne or whoever says it, and it's cool, right? So
Canada, I felt like I was back home. I traveled a lot when I was younger, so it just felt like I was living a Nigerian lifestyle. And then when I was outside of my house, that's when I was in a Western world, a multicultural Western world, where it was I had a lot of friends from different areas, different upbringings. I personally love sports, but I didn't feel like I had to love sports. It was just natural to me. But then I also had friends in different pockets, which was different because I was used to having a lot of, I'm gonna use the word friends, but it was more
acquaintances?
Acquaintances, now that I look back at it. But I was used to knowing a lot of people and not really getting into fights. Oh my God, my mom keeps calling. Okay. What did I say before we started this thing? I was my phone.
You weren't lying.
I put it on Do Not Disturb, but clearly FaceTime overrides that. But anyway, I'm gonna go back into it and
Or
hopefully she doesn't call me
if she's one of your favorites, it will override it.
True. Okay. But what was I saying? This is so annoying. Yes. So I was living in an African household, which was very different, but I never got teased for being African. So I feel like that was the biggest thing that I wanted to say, because I know when I listen to a lot of people talking about growing up in a different world that's not like, I guess, where their parents are from, they often got teased from where they were from. I never got that, or at least nothing that I can remember. It was more just like I knew that I was African and I knew where I came from. But at the same time, I think part of it was the way that I was set up. So I don't have, like, legally, I don't have an African name, first or last. So that, I think, set me different in the sense of, like, trying to get a job, teachers pronouncing my name during class. Like, it was never I had to correct the teacher because they couldn't pronounce my last name, or go ahead.
I like the fact that you brought that up, because I was gonna ask you guys: Have you ever witnessed?
I definitely witnessed it.
You witnessed, right? Like someone fucking up somebody's name.
Yeah, my name all the time.
Really?
Oh,
yo, I gotta hear this.
Listen, Mopo, I remember.
Oh my
Mopo's
God.
not here with us right now, but I will always remember I was in science class in grade 7, and Mopo was new, and he comes into the class. Our teacher, her name was Miss Fitz. She was Trini.
Oh gosh.
And
Trini, and she messed up the name?
Trinis make jokes about everything, okay? So, and also I'm Trini, right? So she put on her little accent, but I understood because my parents are Trini, right? My whole family's Trini. So Mopo comes in, and I'm sitting at the front of the class, and she she's like said something to the student teacher, who was, I forget her name, but anyway, she was Jamaican or something, another island.
I remember this.
And she said to her, she's like, oh, like, how do you say this? So she shows her the paper, and so she's like, it's looking like nympho, and I'm like,
oh my God.
And then she's like, how do you say your name? And he's like, Mopo, and she's like, Mopo, and he's like, Mopo, and she was like, okay, class, this is Mopo, he's new, whatever. I will never forget that day, ever. I was like, yo, this lady really called him nympho. Are you
the
kidding
inner
me?
Guyanese in me?
That is so
Yeah, it was funny.
funny.
But from personal experience, yes, all the time. It's Mandissa. I get Mandissa a lot.
Mandissa?
Mandissa. And I'm like, it's Mandissa. Or I'll say, like, call me Mandy. And to be honest, because of that, for a long time, it wasn't until I started college that I actually embraced Mandissa, like my full name, and I allowed people to call me Mandissa. Because
right.
I think growing up, people just automatically called me Mandy, and it's just a name that stuck with me. Even like my parents will call me Mandy for the most part. And that's just been the name that stuck with me throughout. But then once like college came, I was like, okay, well on the attendance it says Mandisa. I'm an adult. Let me just embrace the shit. And like over time, it just came and stuck. And now I love my name Mandisa. And there are certain people that know me as Mandisa, and I'm like, you can just call me Mandy, and they're like, no, that's weird, like I can't. And I'm like, but I'm more Mandy than I am Mandisa to like the people that I know, and they're like, no, we know you as Mandisa, that's what we're gonna call you. I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh, trust me, I know all about that.
That's crazy.
I feel like it's crazy because I now that I look back at it, I think the reason why I didn't correct people on my name was because it was just like, one, it's a hassle. 2, they were pronouncing it the English way. So I was like, who am I to tell you, like, okay, well, you're pronouncing it the English way, but that's not how you say my name. And then at one point, my mom switched up too. And she was calling me that because that was the quote-unquote English way to say my name. But I was so used to hearing nicknames like from the people that are close to me, that it never really bothered me that much because no one was actually just calling me out my name. Like it was usually D, Die. I'm not gonna say what my dad calls me. That's gonna expose me. But it was never like a form, like my full name. So I think that's why it didn't really bother me as much. And then obviously when you get to university and you get to a full-time career job, and they're like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna get y'all to get this right."
From the beginning,
call me by my first name. But even now, to this day, 6 years in, no one calls me by my name. Like,
it's true. Even us, like I think I've always known you as Diane, but it's only recently that you've been like it's actually Deanne. And even now when I talk to you, sometimes I'm just like D, because out of like habit, I want to call you Diane, but I'm also trying to be conscious of the fact that you've already acknowledged that it's actually Deanne. So I'm like, okay, D. D. Okay.
Yeah, I call you Deanne still, yo. You know
it's hard. It's honestly, it's hard to like when you know something as something for so long and then you like are corrected. It's hard. It's like a conscious thing to have to switch that off.
Yeah, Deanne.
No, I feel you because it's like again, Cosby's called me Bennett since we were 6, you know. So for him, when he calls me Jermaine, sometimes I'm like, oh, it sounds weird coming from you. It's you know what I mean. It's not like I don't know my name, but like it just he's always called me this for so long.
You're used to certain people like calling you certain things. Yeah,
exactly. Yes. So
We were talking about butchered names. They butchered my name.
It was so
stupid.
It was so stupid. Like I get so like it's like yo, like can you not read? People always add a W at the end of my name. Andrew. What's up, Andrew? Andrew. Where do you see Andrew? I used to. You remember Andrew Anderson, Andy?
Andrew Anderson.
Light-skinned dude.
Yes. Lloyd Banks.
Yes, Lloyd Banks. Yes.
Lloyd Banks. I remember him.
Me and him used to like sit next to each other, and the teacher would read the attendance, and the teacher would say Andrew's name, and then the teacher would look at me, Andrew. I'm not Andrew. Like you know that you just said the man's name.
Yeah.
Like how are you gonna get Andrew from my name? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
To me. Or some people call me Andre.
How? Like that's crazy. I think that's just pure stupidness.
Trust me.
Like,
I've experienced it. Like it made no sense to me.
You have a very straightforward name, Andre Smith. Like
thank you.
No,
it's not a sheer disrespect. Still, man, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But Mopo's name, sorry, just to say Mopo's name. Like I've sat in class and I used to get cheesed when
I look at
fam. If Mopo would say his name, repeat what the man said. That's it.
Exactly.
That is it. Mopo. Repeat.
Right.
I've never been in that situation, so I'm like curious to know, you know.
Okay, well, a divorce, it brings out the worst in people.
Right, different ways of emotions.
True.
Yeah.
Fight.
So,
putting kids in the middle. I'm also like, I come from a divorce.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Damn. Okay.
But yeah,
so
go
you
ahead,
and I are in that boat.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, and you feel my pain as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, being with somebody who's like, both sides are mixed, right? But my father is like your skin tone, Mandisa, and then my mother is like a little bit lighter than me.
Mm-hmm.
You hear certain things that you wish that you never heard, some racial slurs or some things like "I wish you never lived" and stuff like that. So,
I know those ones still.
Yeah.
That's just a Caribbean thing to say.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more. If you from the Caribbean and you know. It's.
I know. I just want to say that it is again, like I said at the beginning, it is a new year. I want you guys to venture off, do everything that you guys have your mind set on. To our viewers, to our audience, keep locking in and again, speak your mind, own your truth, and keep rocking with DTE.
I give Mandisa her props for her situation. I give Jermaine and everybody else their props for their situations and trials, because you know it was fun. Some of it was fun, but it wasn't easy at other times too. You know, so just recognizing that.
100%.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Still, I remember just having conversations with, you know, different people who have both sides. Like, you know, obviously there's a part of you that leaves when that person has to leave. You know. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Daryl. This was exciting to be back. You know, get this one out. We can kind of brush it off our shoulders. You know what I mean? I actually
love y'all.
I love you guys too. I do know that Deanne and I talked. Like, obviously, this was when she came up with the segment. It was more supposed to be like banter, you know. And obviously, I shared with her that if we were in person, it would come off a lot more different, you know, just via Zoom, you know. But I felt like we held our own, you know. I got to learn a little bit more about you guys for sure.
I still feel like there's more to the conversation too, because now I'm like, when did I like meet Jermaine, and like what point of my life?
I know.
Where were we at? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I know where we were at still.
I still don't remember. You remind me every time.
We gotta talk
I'm like,
about
I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember vividly still.
I remember when I met Jermaine also.
I remember when I met you too. So I just want to say that it is again, like I said at the beginning, it is a new year. I want you guys to venture off, do everything that you guys have your mind set on. To our viewers, to our audience, you know, keep locking in and again, speak your mind, own your truth, and keep rocking with DTE. For more DTE content, go ahead and click that like button, click that subscribe button. Follow us on social media at DTE 2020. And don't you forget, share and comment in the comment section below. Definitely want to hear your guys' feedback. And we definitely want to hear your guys' truth. So keep it going. Speak your mind. You know what it is. It's DTE. Yeah.